Are two bills that passed in the Senate that would directly impact Harris County elections. Harris County Attorney Christian Menefee is here to talk more about how these measures impact voters. Thank you so much for coming in, chatting with us this morning. I want to start with Senate Bill 1750. What is it? How does it impact people watching?
Well, thank you very much for having me. Senate Bill 1750 abolishes only one elections administrator office in the entire state of Texas, and that is the Harris County Elections Administrator Office. It would take the duties of voter registration and running elections from an office that was created by our Commissioner's Court and place it with the county clerk and the tax assessor collector. It's just the latest example of Republicans out in Austin targeting Harris County elections, trying to make it more difficult for us to run elections for the people who live here.
Have you heard from Harris County constituents about this bill?
Absolutely. People are incredibly fired up. They view it as the state targeting Harris County because their leaders look differently and think differently than the folks out in Austin. But in addition to this bill, there's another bill, Senate Bill 1933, which makes it more difficult for the county clerk and the tax assessor collector to run voter registration and to administer elections. Now, when you take these two bills in tandem, it's clear. The goal here is to set these officials up to be demonized, to make mistakes so that the state can come in and try to take over our elections. It's wrong, and that's why we're calling it out.
1933 was sent to the governor's desk on Sunday. 1750 has already been sent.
That's right. Both SB 1750 and 1933 are on the governor's desk awaiting the governor's signature.
When you announced the intention to sue, you said the bill is unconstitutional. Elaborate on this.
The Texas Constitution bars legislators from passing bills that target a specific jurisdiction. So the law is very clear that you can't have a bill and say it only applies to Harris County. And you can't try to add in a bunch of different categories that make clear that the bill applies to only Harris County. That's exactly what happened here. Senator Paul Bettencourt, a Republican senator, went out to Austin. He took his personal vendettas with him, and he is attempting to now pass a couple of laws that are very clearly aimed at Harris County. And the reason we know this is because he said so in interviews, he's said so on social media, right? And he's said so throughout committee meeting, as well as on the floor of the Texas Senate. So that's why we're suing. And it makes a lot of sense why the Constitution bans this. You want your legislators passing laws that are in the best interest of all Texans, not taking their personal vendettas to target a specific area.
I know earlier this month you said this is more than just bad public policy, it's bad for democracy.
Absolutely. I think that elections are a cornerstone of democracy, the ability for people to go in and vote and have the full faith that regardless of what party you're in, if you're in a position of power, you're going to be doing everything you can to make it better for people to vote. People went to the polls and elected our county judge. They went to the polls and elected me. We shouldn't have legislators out in Austin trying to strip power away from local officials because they disagree with us.
With the issues we've seen from time to time in Harris County, what would be your resolutions to these problems?
Well, I think we've heard the feedback. The elections office has heard the feedback from people throughout the county, and they're going to be implementing changes to make voting more accessible and to ensure that we don't have issues. But importantly, we know that these bills are not about making elections better, and we know that for three reasons. One, another county had paper issues in the state of Texas, but these bills would not apply to that county. Two, these bills tie the hands of two women who are elected officials in Harris County, despite Senator Bettencourt and others saying that they're working to help these people out. And three, in 2020, we ran an election that the Secretary of State's office called smooth and secure, but you still saw Republican legislators passing laws to make it more difficult for folks to vote here. If Senator Bettencourt cared about making elections better in Harris County, he wouldn't be pushing SB 990, which would end countywide voting in our state. I think that these folks have ulterior motives, and so that's why we're going to do two things. One, we're going to sue, and two, we're going to do everything we can to ensure that we don't have any more issues in Harris County elections.
That's what's next on your end. What's next with this whole process?
Well, after the governor signs it, then we'll keep working through the process of filing a lawsuit, but sometime in the next few weeks, you can expect that Harris County will be filing a lawsuit to challenge this. This is about protection of democracy. It's about having this fight today, and the courts are going to say what the courts are going to say, but it's my duty to fight every single fight that is going to be in the best interest of protecting our residents, protecting our elections, protecting our public officials, and protecting our democracy.
Christian Menefee, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.